game activated.
There's a place at the end of the
road. 2018 GSL Season 2 Overgrowth. Overgrowth.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the GSL Code S. It's going to be another excellent day. We now go to Group C. As Artosis says, the actual group of death.
That's right. The Group B was like the Boy Scouts group of death. You're like, oh, I watch a little bit of StarCraft, and these guys are big names, so I think this is the group of death. No! If you're in the know, Group C is the group of death. This one's crazy. It's impossible to say who's getting out alive.
It's definitely a lot harder. I think Group B was supposed to be easier as far as who we predict gets out, but we were totally wrong. Deer dominating. It was crazy. Actually getting out first, the joke of that group was kind of that, although Deer is very good, he's even a GSL Code S champion, the rest of the group was so top-heavy that it just statistically should be impossible for him to get out, considering how accomplished all those players were. But he did manage to escape.
Yeah, and good on him as well. Rogue, of course, in second place gives us a round of 8 that everyone wants to see, but no one wants to see. Not that early. Rogue versus Maru. Yeah. They're like basically the two most dominating players in the world right now. So yeah, kind of sad to see that.
It's funny because this is one of these tournaments where we actually have a lot of, titans, a lot of badasses knocking each other out in round of 32 or round of 16. Where it's kind of sad in some way because that could have easily been one of our finals, but it really does emphasize just how good the GSL actually is now. I mean, everybody has become so strong.
Yeah, man, you remax one time on Roaches against 10 Immortals, and bam, here you are playing Maru, your teammate, in the round of 8 instead of meeting him in the finals. It's a crazy thing.
And, Deer versus Zest, that's going to be a lot of fun to cast. Those guys have very different PvPs. I'm really not sure who comes out on top there. Today here in Group C, we have Dark, Classic, Trap, and TY.
It's the group is madness. Like, what are you even supposed to say about this group? Like, everything is so close and so good. Most of these matches are really hard to predict. I think the easiest to predict might be Dark Classic. I'm definitely favoring Dark there.
Okay.
But Classic, sometimes he comes with really on PvZ, even though more lately he's had a tough run this year so far against Dark. Dark has been knocking him out at tournaments left and right.
박영우 선수의 이제 지명 차례가 지금 왔습니다.
사실 뽑고 싶은 사람이 있었는데 먼저 가버렸어요. 좀
매진됐어요?
네네. 항상 좀 머리에 장난을 치시는 분.
그래 변현우 선수 너무 뽑고 싶었는데 가버렸으면은
그 선수들의 얘기를 한번 들어보고 싶어요. 좀 당찬 포부나 그런 거 좀 한번 들어보고 싶어요.
이병렬? 이병렬?
테란전 프로토스전 하는 것보다 저저전 하고 싶어가지고 영우랑.
요즘에 박영우 선수 저저전 좀 괜찮게 하잖아요.
저저전은 괜찮게 좀 아쉬운 것 같아요.
아쉬워요?
병렬이 형처럼 저렇게 막 자반심에 차 있고 자신감에 올라 있는 사람 뽑으면 안 돼요.
왜?
죽음의 조가 되거든요.
노련해졌어요. 박영우 선수 옛날에 그 가족주 만들었다가 제대로 망했었잖아요.
엄청 패기로웠잖아요.
그때 당시에.
근데 전 도우 형 얘기를 좀 들어보고 싶어요.
김도우.
네.
김도우.
그만 만나고 싶은데 맨날 저만 뽑으려고 하더라고요. 작년에 저러다가 저한테 한번 혼났거든요. 이기고 그때 광탈 한번 시켜줬는데 한번 혼났으면 이제 좀 다른 사람 좀 뽑았으면 좋겠네요.
뭐 한번 혼났는데 그 뒤로 혼나본 적이 없거든요. 뽑으러 가겠습니다.
뽑으러 가요. 김도우 아니 말할 기회 드려.
마이크 잡을 기회 줘야 되는 거 아니에요?
마이크 잡을 기회 한 번은 줘야 되는 거 아니에요? 마이크도.
이거 대박.
이거 아니 기회를 안 줘요?
슬픈 상황이 좀 만들어지는 것 같은데. 자, 김도우 선수 마이크 한번 잡아주시고 왜 뽑냐고 지금 있는 거 왜 뽑았냐고.
뭐 예상은 했는데 진짜 뽑게 되니 좀 열받아가지고
네.
이번에 이겨야겠어요.
저그전 못하는 도호 형을 뽑아가지고 더 이상 저그가 2조에 안 들어오게.
예전에 그 패기는 다 어디 간 거예요?
그렇기 때문에 10연속 코드가 16강만 찍은 게 아닌가.
그 패기 하나 때문에.
네, 그래. 김도우 선수가 지금 선택할 시간이 됐거든요.
네.
네, 정말 박영우 선수와의 질긴 인연을 제가 여기서 좀 어떻게 좀 활용할 것인가.
우선 저도 올라가야 되니까
네.
제가 이길 수 있는 상대와 이제 령울이 좀 이길 수 있는 상대를 생각하고 있어요. 제가 저그를 좀 싫어해가지고 저그는 일단 빼고
저거는 좀 패스하고.
네.
령우가 테란전을 워낙 잘해서 영우를 이기려면 저는 프로토스나 저그를 하는 게
확실히 조성호 선수가 지금 주먹으로 계속 허벅지를 때리고 있어요.
조성호 선수, 예, 조성호 선수도
계속 때리는 거 보니까 박영호를 저렇게 때리고 싶다는 느낌이거든요.
아니요, 그냥 누구 뽑을지 너무 궁금해서요. 저는 D조 가서 선택도 못 해보고 팀킬 바로 돼가지고.
자, 그러면 김도우 선수 바로 선택해 주십시오.
확실히 테란을 뽑기에는
테란인가요?
뭔가 박영호 잡기에는 애매하다는 생각이 들거든요.
그냥 여기서 조성호
역시.
선수를 뽑아버리네요.
주먹으로 허벅지 20대 때린 게 효과가 있다라는 생각이 듭니다.
그렇죠.
우선 성호가 저그전을 잘하기도 하고 최근에 령우를 많이 이기는 걸 봐가지고 또 경기 내에서도 령우랑 하는 걸 보면 도움이 될 수가 있어서 성호가 되게 령우 좀 저격령으로 뽑았어요.
이제 조성호 선수의 지금 선택의 시간이 좀 기다리고 있는데요. 조성호 선수는 진짜 데려가기 싫은 두 명인데 지금 남아 있잖아요.
네.
예, 이신영과 전태양. 그래도 여기서 조금 더 좀 원하는 쪽이 있을 것 같은데요.
성주가 권한을 지금 어떻게 쓸 건지 전 궁금해요. 정렬이 형이랑 성호 형이랑 바꿀까 생각 중인데. 그럼 나야 좋지.
이미 끝났네요.
좋아요.
그러면은 김유진도 손 들어요.
그러면은
성호 형 그러면
나왔어요.
너가 오케이.
나왔어요.
끝났어요?
지니어들끼리의 대화 순간 오케이 이응 한번 하고 끝났어 이렇게 나오거든요.
네. 잠깐만, 지금 김도우 마이크 잡고 아니라고. 김도우 절대 안 된다고. 김도우 좀 이야기 한번 해보세요.
성주야, 중국 가면서 많이 친해진 것 같은데 또 이렇게 안 해줬으면 좋겠는데 저번에도 저거한테 탈락했거든요. 투자번은 너무 그냥 거의 탈락일 것 같아요.
지금 울먹거려요.
그렇게 생각하니까 또 그렇네요. 근데 병렬이 형이 바꾸기 싫어하는 것 같아서 막상 보니까 조가 너무 힘든 것 같아가지고 성호가 괜찮다면은 안 바꾸고 싶은데.
여기 있고 싶다.
믿었던 후원의
성호가 이야기 달라지죠. 성호가 오고 싶다면 바꾸고 성호가 나 괜찮아 하면은 안 갈.
갑자기
안
김도우
바꾸고.
웃어요. 좋아요 지금.
고개를 끄덕이고.
자, 이신영과 전태양 선수가 지금 남아 있거든요.
이게 준 가족
지금 여기서 좀 원해요.
이미 일어났어요.
미리 일어났어요. 여기 가면은 전태양. 전태양 뽑았습니다.
김도우 웃어요. 그나마 낫죠. 그나마 낫죠.
그나마.
김도우가 제일 행복해 보입니다.
자, 오늘 그렇게 조지명식. 자, 김도우 선수님 웃으면서 자, 이제 그룹 C의 선수단이 결정이 됐거든요.
제가 좀 많이 졌던 선수들이라 솔직히 C조랑 D조에 상성 선수들이 좀 많아서 힘들겠다 생각을 했어요. 그래서 좀 빨리 하고 싶었는데 그나마 D조보다는 빨리 해서 괜찮을 것 같아요.
Going all out in denim here. Season 2 of the GSL. We're moments away from starting this. Again, only 2 players are going to survive. The other 2 will be eliminated. This is such a scary group, and there's so many interesting possible matchups for matchup 3 and 4. I'm very curious to see, because each of these guys have their own strengths, their own play styles.
Indeed.
Like, let's say we end up with a classic versus trap map. matchup. Excuse me.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be really hard for Trap, actually. I think Classic's been so dominant in that matchup. But
he has been super strong in PvP. It's a good point. I think that TY Trap is the most interesting match in the entire group because, like, if TY dies to Trap, I think TY is not making out. But if he beats him, he might win the group.
So weird to say that,
It's a wild group.
TY, who a little over a year ago won IEM Katowice.
Yeah. One of the winningest players last year. It was insane.
Yeah, and in a really impressive fashion. But I don't want to get too ahead of myself here. It's just that we've got so many great games here and so many great possibilities for how this could all branch out. So we're taking a look at Dark here. Dark has off and on been the best Zerg in the world. I think right now he's being a little bit overshadowed by Rogue, but I guess everybody is.
But he's the other guy in that Zerg relationship.
Everybody wants to be the guy, but you'd be fine being the other guy too.
Yeah, definitely between him and Rogue. I guess the only other person people really mention right now is Cyril. But we're still waiting for him to come and try out for GSL.
Yes,
so
we would love to have
keep
Cyril
it at Rogue
here.
Dark.
That's right. I just want Cyril to make some WWE entrance where the music changes and I go, wait a minute, that's Cyril's song. And out of nowhere he comes out, throws Trap out of the seat, and the graphic at the bottom changes. But no, he'll probably just have to qualify like everybody else. But yeah, we'd love to have him down here.
So what do you think about the group, though? Who do you think comes out?
Man, I really don't know. I could give you two random names, but I'm really just pulling it out of the air. This group, I honestly just don't know. That's why I'm so excited to see who comes out.
For me, I'm kind of feeling Dark in the winner of TY Trap.
Okay.
I think the TY Trap match is going to give us a ton of information. And if Classic can take out Dark, man, I am happy to eat my words, but he has a very hard time against
I believe Dark is supposed to win this. For Classic, and we've been calling him Classic 2.0, as he's really brought in a whole new style.
You could call him the best Protoss in the world right now, along with stats, I think.
Yeah, well, he's just, he was at the very top points of Protoss and then fell back, and now he's completely re-engineered his style, and he's interested in winning this GSL. So let's see.
That's funny wording. Hey, Classic, what do you think about this GSL? I'm interested in what you can say.
I'm here to take it all. But only in StarCraft or a game that's been around this long can you get stories that are this good, right? I mean, this is one of the great things about continuing on this game's legacy.
Classic.
Is that we get to see these players continue to grow and develop, and it's almost like one of these comic book storylines that never has to end as each new edition comes out, like each new edition of the GSL. Hold up here.
What is this drone doing?
Yeah, and that probe just looped past and did not spot the drone, so I'm curious.
Yeah, is he just going for a scout, maybe an offensive hatchery there?
Looks like
it's kind of looking like. But
it seems like that's what it's going to be. We have Dark right now at almost 200 minerals. Now probes are coming down here, and it looks like they might be able to stop the drone from expanding.
Yeah.
But of course, the drone can stop the probes from expanding. But it seems like with two probes here,
he actually spent his money, so he's definitely not trying to make a hatchery at all. He's just trying to slow this down. And he did a pretty good job with it, I would say.
Yeah.
But, you don't normally see that being like the choice.
The funny thing, though, is Dark has a lot of times done stuff that later on becomes standard, just way ahead of everybody else.
Yeah.
I think this is why he's been able to stay at the very forefront of Zerg, because he's not somebody who's waiting for trends. He really is like a trendsetter. Oh, Net Wars. Got some Polish dudes in the audience. Thanks for coming down.
Polish scene, always awesome.
I know, it's huge, man. It's always been huge. Like, even all the way back to the old StarCraft 1 days.
Yep.
You go online, you'd see these brackets, man. Like, way bigger than anything that was happening in North America was already going on in Poland. As far as a tournament down there. So anyways, guys, welcome to the studio. Thanks for coming down. I think we've got a decent number of non-Koreans here.
Yeah. A lot of people showing up today. Well, this is such a group. Like, I mean, no matter what race you like, this has your guy in it.
Yeah, this is true. Everybody's got someone to root for in here.
Top 2 Korean Zerg, a top 2 Korean Protoss, and one of the 4 horsemen of Terran.
Yeah.
Psh, sign me up, tasteless.
So the Overlords now come in here for the scout. We got to remember that a lot of Protosses have been able to flip the board with some of these timing attacks that come in. For instance, that Zealot Warp Gate timing attack, and then there's a variant where you get the 2 Archons and then do that. And so it seems like Dark really wants to lean hard on just confirmation scouting.
I think you're probably right about that. Like, he's got his Overlord over near the natural right now. A Phoenix coming out first. This really is the norm right now to push that Overlord out and kind of make it questionable as to what's occurring. We'll see where he keeps that Overlord. He sees the Phoenix coming out. Going towards the natural. Maybe get a peek as to whether or not the gases are being taken before it dies.
Yeah, and so far, I believe neither of those gases, neither of them have actually been taken here. And look at this, he's even sending it all the way back in the other direction.
Yeah.
He just wants to have this occupy as much vision of the Protoss' real estate in case there's anything that the Classic's doing that might telegraph a rush or something aggressive early on. For instance, getting confirmation, okay, there's still an Oracle coming out.
And these first Overlords right now, because this part of the metagame has stabilized so much, are so deliberate in what they're doing. Are they checking for gas? Are they going back? Almost everyone right now seems like they're checking for Oracle.
Did you see that?
Yeah, I did.
Second Stargate.
Dude, the Zest build, Classic going to be using it here as well. I'm not too surprised, to be honest. For anyone who missed it, actually, Zest was able to defeat Solar, and a big part of his play was 2 Stargate Phoenix. You just kind of fly around with an Oracle and a Phoenix. You have denied their scouting. They don't know that you're going for this, and it counters Roach Tech very, very hard, but you have to go Roach Tech to shore up defenses against things like Charge Lots or Archon drops that normally follow up in Oracle openings. So it's a very interesting build. Zest used it to great effect, and it seems like the type of build where Classic might be able to get a leg up against Dark. I think it's a great choice.
Okay, Oracle eating a little bit of damage there. 2 hits so far. Oh, almost. Dark with really quick target firing right when the Phoenix dropped it. Almost shut down the Oracle there.
A couple Zealots being warped in right now. Phoenix is being made 2 at a time. Now, let's see here. He's going over to take this 3rd base location. He's got that full wall in. The Oracle's at home to help out as well. Of course, Dark doesn't know for sure what's going on, but look at that evolution chamber. He hasn't made any roaches. Okay, a roach being made. If you make a bunch of roaches, I feel like this build gets a really big heads up on you.
I do wonder because, at least for us as casters, this is one of the newer things that's happening here, but I wonder how trendy this truly is at the very, very, very top of the meta, where maybe Dark is already still anticipating this.
Well, he just made 9 roaches. He's got spores out in kind of anti-warp prism locations.
That's what I was
Those
wondering.
are not anti-Phoenix.
Yeah,
so
unless you just wait to see the Phoenixes come and move them, which could be what he wants to do.
He'll probably have to do that.
He knows now, so let's see how Dark reacts.
This is the first moment he knows. 3 more Queens get started immediately. Another Spore gets started immediately. Probably moving some of the other ones as well. A couple of Adepts come in for some harass.
I like that the Adepts come in right before the Phoenixes get there to really try to stall the Zerg out just a little bit.
All right, going to target down a Queen. He already picked up a single Roach. A bunch of Roaches going across the map, but he's going to be able to kill a lot of Overlords, and he can turn around and kill all those Roaches.
Okay, so he's actually supply blocked him. This was something... Well, I'll get to that actually in a second. Let's see how much more damage he does. The Roach is headed northbound here. I don't believe there's quite enough to defend just with the ground here for Classic, so Classic's going to send those Phoenixes back.
This is very interesting that Dark is actually going for a Spire here. That can't be for anything but Corruptors, right? So is he just going to sit here and go Corruptor Roach or something? Like, what are we going to see?
Well, I guess it's not wrong, right? I mean, when Protoss goes for a lot of air like this, they are automatically giving up some leverage on the ground here. I mean, the thing about the Phoenixes is they're intended to be able to combat stuff on the ground. But it's one of these things where a small number of Roaches is pretty good against a small number of anything else, right? Unless it's Immortals, but okay, so he's continuing to come in here. Zerg is no longer supply blocked. The Oracle is very important here for trying to hold off this attack. It's not like the Oracle's great against Roaches, but it's something that deals a lot of damage.
That Oracle's going to town, man. Without that Oracle, he would have had to come home already. Looks like he recalls his Phoenixes, and we'll just kill off the rest of them at this point. But definitely a hero Oracle at this point. Okay, so 8 Corruptors. I find this super interesting. I'm so excited about this. Like, I guess, you know what could happen here, right? Because this would be the stupidest thing in the world if the Corruptors didn't have that ability where they puke on buildings.
I wanted to bring this up. I was thinking about
Like, do you just
Like
kill
what?
the Phoenixes and then you slime all the buildings?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, like, when you go for this many Phoenixes, you're not going to have anything that shoots up. You don't even have the gas for a sentry at this point, right? Like, you have to get into things like splash damage eventually. But, if you start getting picked off because of the overwhelming Phoenix count, that's an issue as well.
Okay, not bad control here, actually, with Classic. He is fighting these Corruptors head on. And this is an interesting angle that he wants to take this fight at. He needs to put some of those Overlords away there.
I tell you, this is so interesting. Like, I feel like you throw down a Baneling Nest right now as Dark as well. The Baneling Nest! Okay, let me explain why, right? Because at this point, it feels like you're going to have to warp in Stalkers, right? Like, eventually, if he just keeps committing to the Corruptors, then eventually you're probably going to need to make Stalkers or you're going to lose all your buildings. And if anyone goes, like, a Stalker-based composition in the late mid or late game, and you just make like a lot of Ling Bane Hydra or something like that, right? Like, Banelings don't seem like they're the counter to Stalkers, but Stalkers don't kill them quick enough to do anything.
Ooh, gotta be careful with that Warp Prism. Now here's the thing, if you keep making Corruptors, they can fight the Phoenixes, but now with the Archons comboed in, I'm wondering if Dark brought this game into a bad direction for him.
Well, the Archons can't really chase the Corruptors.
Yeah,
they can't go beyond walls. They aren't that quick. So I think the Corruptors actually, watch this, right? You're just going to come in and, see, now you see Stalkers coming in. But yeah, I like this, man.
Right. Oh.
This is cool.
Oh, he stopped. Okay, he sees a few Stalkers, decides otherwise.
Yeah, some Stalkers coming out. He has a few High Templars, mostly Archons, but the thing is, Archons won't do that well against Roach Hydra.
By the way, this is a pretty impressive expand here by Classic, just pushing right out. He's going to be very close to that fourth. Got to be careful. If one or two of those Archon shots connect on the ball of Corruptors, it's like everything's going to disappear. Now, I don't believe we have any Immortals in the mix at all, but we have a Warp Prism push. It's a lot of Roaches. Roaches, not bad against Zealots, but sometimes when you get numbers this high, assuming that the Corruptors, so you can start to eliminate some of these Roaches from the fight. And even if Dark could win the battle in the air, he's going to lose the fight on the ground here. Classic beginning to push in. Now, he's driven a wedge in between 3 different bases now, which screws up a lot of the rally points here for Dark.
What an army that he has right now. Look at this. He's sacrificing the Phoenixes at this point. He's just lifting as much as he can, trying to get his Archons on top of everything. The surface area is not perfect for him.
Thing is, this Warp Prism's not going to be taken out, and he can he can pick different fights in each location, like Zealots and Archons in small numbers, because they were each hitting those 3 different bases. Will beat anything popping out of a hatchery, right?
That's very true.
It's kind of like that idea of, like, if you get on top of a Terran player's barracks or factories, you're probably going to win the game. If you're there for more than, like, 15 seconds and they haven't stopped it, usually it's over. Kind of the same idea as if you've really forced your way in, you're occupying that location, instead of, let's say, he just tried to pick a fight at the fourth, maybe eventually Dark musters up enough to have some kind of tactical advantage where he can try to fight that. But yeah, he just completely runs over Dark.
What an interesting game. You know what? I think in practice, Dark forced a lot more Stalkers out, but I think that basically the turning point was when the Corruptors first came out and Classic started to reduce their count with the Phoenixes. The fact that he was able to force more and more Corruptors out, and there never got to be a critical mass that you have to warp in a bunch of Stalkers against, I think made Classic's timing attack just really, really strong. That was a sick game, though. I've never seen these two strategies, and it's just, you can see Dark has really thought about Zest's build.
Okay, we're going to game 2. It's on one of our new maps, Lost and Found. Right now, Classic with a 1-0 lead.
Very interesting strategy coming out of him to try to counter that double Stargate play. Not working out, though. Not that game.
Classic.
And Classic really executing that build order very, very well. It'll be interesting to see if he wants to try that again. And again, like, you know, that last game, I just love that. I want Dark's replay pack of his practice games for the last few days, because I swear to God, I bet you that in practice he's doing well against the Phoenix play by going into Corruptors. And Yeah, I don't know. That was a super sick game, though. What a good way to start this day off.
You know, it's funny because we were looking at this, and it's a pretty cool idea, especially coming out now here, that you get the 2 Stargates, you get the Phoenixes, and sometimes we'd say, oh, this is intended to throw the other player off. I'm wondering if this is going to become so trendy that it's actually just normal. You know,
the double Stargate play.
Yeah,
I mean,
because I'm looking at it. So let's actually rewind this way back. The first time we started seeing stuff like this was actually in StarCraft 1, where people started to mass Corsairs against the Zerg, and you could just kill Overlords. And obviously, a Phoenix is in some ways like a more advanced Corsair because you can actually pick up stuff on the ground, so you can get worker kills. Yeah. But just recently in ASL, we started seeing this double Stargate build after Fast Expand.
Yeah.
Against Zergs, and it threw off a lot of Zergs in the ASL, and then we're seeing the same thing happen right around the same time here in the GSL, where this is almost like the trend in both games is to try to blindside Zerg with a bunch of air units.
Well, yeah, okay, so I have an idea about that, and I have an idea about the build as well. Let me start with my idea about what you're saying about a similar trend in a matchup that's technically the same races, but quite different between the 2 games.
Yeah, but some things operate the same way.
Yeah, for sure, some do. But like, okay, so as far as that goes, the whole world is getting better at RTS games all the time. There's so much pro play going on, so much discussion, so many televised matches. We're in a more global world than we used to be and all this, right? Like, and overall, like, knowing how to correctly pressure is probably the hardest and the best thing in RTS. Pressure is the most powerful thing that exists because you are not actually committing, but you're forcing errors.
Right.
So I think that is probably why we're seeing that type of thing against Zerg, because that's a way that obviously Zerg can be a little bit weak, is with their flying supply depots, the Overlord. So about the build in particular, it seems like it's a build that has to rotate, right? Like, if it gets overly popular, you'll just go Zerglings into Hydra, and you're going to be fine, probably.
So maybe it's strong because Protoss also has the option to come out with a War Prism and have a bunch of gates. So it's one of these things where
the fact that Charge is the best all-in and Archon Drop is like the best follow-up to Oracle is what makes the Phoenixes so good, because Roaches counter both those. So if you don't go Roach and you don't know what they're doing, 2 times out of 3 out of those 3 builds, right, you're in trouble.
It's like you're going for rock or paper or scissors, but you don't know. But if you have to counter to that, it doesn't necessarily mean the Protoss loses either.
And look, this game, right? Okay, he's actually going for a Robo, so this could be an Archon drop. In fact, yes, it's going to be an Archon drop because he's taking his additional gases. And so this game, if Dark thinks that it's 2 Stargate Phoenix and skips Roaches altogether, the Archons are just going to gain a lot of value, and you know, the follow-up timing push is going to be really strong.
It's really interesting stuff.
I love it, man. Just such brainy play out of Protos's. Whole internet just tilted.
I know.
Or 2/3 of it, at least.
So the Oracle comes in here, it gets 3 kills.
That was nice.
Almost loses it. It's got to be careful. You do need that Oracle later on. And now we're seeing a War Prism come out here. Now there's 2 additional gateways coming. It's Zealot Legs. So kind of the idea that we were talking about with, well, that Stargate build's only good if you have another build like this one that we're seeing in this game now. You know, this could pull the rug out from under Dark here. But note, it's not some kind of crazy aggro play right now. It could on some level look like maybe the Phoenixes are still going to come out, but this is not anything of the sort. He's getting to Templar Archives. He's getting a Forge. Zealot Legs is coming.
Yeah, he actually moved out with a very similar amount of units until the 3rd and everything.
This has been disguised really well.
Yeah, has he actually seen the Warp Prism as of yet? I don't know.
No, I don't believe so, because it went down from the natural to the 3rd base.
Yeah, I don't think he saw it.
And so now Dark will know this isn't coming once he sees the Archons drop in. I'm not too clear on the exact number of Phoenixes you want to have come out, like if there actually is a magic number, but we haven't seen anything come out just yet.
Yeah, a little bit of Ling harassment going down, but he's made some Roaches, but he's getting melee for Zerglings, right? So maybe this is some sort of middle-of-the-road, okay against everything type of play?
Yeah. Got to be careful here. That War Prism already taking some damage.
Yeah, that was actually...
Well, Dark came at a very good angle. He surrounded that quite nicely.
Yeah, he
and immediately,
that drop, man.
Yeah, and immediately had those Queens targeting down the War Prism, which is really smart.
Yeah. Really good stuff. All right, I mean, Dark has deflected this, and the second Robo on the way, so he's going to really start on those Immortals. Wait, did he cancel the +1 melee and go into +1 range? Am I crazy? Did that occur? I
don't think melee was that far away.
He did. He canceled it.
Yeah, he had to have, because it was really early on when he had started it.
Okay, so this, I am just getting chills. These guys are so good. Don't you tell me that Group B was the group of death, okay? Dark, he's trying to figure out what to do against this 3 build order rotation right now.
Yeah.
So he started melee, he made minimum amounts of roaches, and then when he saw it was Archons,
he switched into the range attack.
He canceled melee. He's like, screw this, I need range attack.
So he might actually try to come here with a very different type of attack, but maybe thinking that Phoenix build was strong enough, he wanted to have melee. If he did need a mass circling up, and just have the bare minimum number of roaches spread out in each location to hold off the Archon harass.
Exactly, yeah. I mean,
dude, that's pretty sick.
This is so sick. And now he's, his +1 range is going to be finishing up. He's going into Roach Hydra, which is pretty standard for right now against this type of thing. Archon drop into Immortals, and probably he's going into Drop Lords before any Lurker Den. But those are really kind of the 2 next techs, right? You start to pressure, you try to get some drops off, maybe get the Protoss out of position. But this is what a sick series so far.
The question though is can Dark actually make this work? Because Classic, what his build, okay, he's gonna do a drop here. Classic, what he did in this build was not dramatic. He's basically put pressure on and safely expanded out. Now the drop coming here is it's just now been spotted, which is very important. Nice harass and over here. Does Dark also try to attack into the front? It looks like he's moving his army now.
Yeah, he's moving quite a big chunk of army over towards the third base, and of course the other units in the Overlords going towards the main. Let's see here. I mean, both of them are pretty scary armies, but if there's a good unit split from Classic, he should be able to hold without problem.
Okay, now this is quite a bit of Roaches and Hydras. The angling, though, he's got to be careful about Storm because there's really no way to actually full-on fight there without eating. It's like 3 Psionic Storms fit perfectly at that third base if he tries to cross. So he breaks down the rocks.
Look at this. With the Immortals, the Psy Storm, he's looking good. In his main base, he has a few Immortals. He has Stalkers. Things are looking very good defensively.
Dark may try to fish out the rest of the Psionic Storms and then push in. He's got enough units, he might be able to just eat some damage and then close it out in this expansion. So we have Roaches now coming here and Hydras from the top. This may be too much.
Oh, man.
He needs to start juggling these Immortals back.
Yeah, he's great right now. He's trying so hard with this micro here on the Immortals, and the Immortals are still alive.
Yeah, and as long as your Immortals are alive, you never want to count the Protoss out.
Yeah. Look at this. He's shuffling them all behind the Archon. Are you kidding me? Oh, my God. Insanely good micro here from Classic.
I think there was 1 Immortal taken out there. And it's funny because it looked like there was so much of Dark's units engulfing the third that it was going to get run over. But with a nice warp in there, north of that fight, Classic then came in and shut that down. And keep in mind that Dark had basically maxed out.
Yeah.
Okay? He had not really been teching. In fact, you see him teching behind this. He started to Spire here.
Yeah.
Classic is getting more and more sophisticated in this game.
Well, I think that this is not only was that a great hold, but this play from Dark, first off, notice how he isn't just holding down the R key against someone who has 10 Immortals left over. That's a really good move, Dark. Thank you. He's got some Roaches, he's got some Hydras, he's making some Zerglings. And the fact that he's going into Spire, I really like, right? He killed all of the Archons.
Yeah, and
so there could be surprise mutas.
He also has forced a ton of Immortals. And I mean, they're just...
Oh! That's a sick pickoff.
Yeah, very smartly done there by Dark, preempting that. Okay, so we once again see an attack here over on the third. Immortals need to come down here and fight this. You can't just win that with Storms. Okay, these guys are so ahead of each other, it's crazy.
Dude, these guys are just so good in general. What a sick match so far. The Stalkers have to pull back. He does get some of the units out. Looks like he's going to go ahead and get out of here. Doesn't want to lose any more than he has to. But you know what? He's keeping his opponent busy. This is the important thing. Dark doesn't think any of these moves are going to win him the game against the army that is here, but oh my God, getting on top of these Immortals with lanes is actually fantastic.
That was actually pretty huge. There's no War Prism over here to help juggle. As long as he can get a few more Lings around there. Okay, the War Prism's come back down. It looks like he'll be able to salvage most of those Immortals.
But look, where's the Archons? Where's the anti-air? There's 10 Mutalisks out here. He can fly in, start picking off High Templars, maybe finish off some Immortals or something. Let's see.
So he has 2 Archons morphing. I think the Mutas will get there right before the Archons finish. Anything he can snipe is going to be worthwhile, but once those Archons are up, of course, Dirk can still try to do damage. You just want to avoid the Archon shots themselves.
Ooh, gets one High Templar immediately. Don't forget the glaives setting off a lot of these shields just in case.
And Dark is making a lot more roaches behind this. Okay, another nice snipe there.
Good stuff right now. Still poking in multiple directions. 4th base, though, is coming up. Another drop into the main.
This is so sick, actually, how many different locations Dark is hitting here, and Classic is still hanging on. Now, Classic's goal is to keep on teching, keep on upgrading, and eventually max out. And then it'll be his opportunity to push across the map. I mean, plays like this from Dark are huge, especially denying expansions and or probes from mining. Like any worker kill you can get is going to be great, but there is an inevitable counter push unless Classic falls apart. And Dark needs to be ready for that, because this is 4 bases versus 4 bases.
Yeah, when Dark, or rather Classic, moves across the map, that's probably game over in his favor. His army is just so much better, but Dark is trying everything he has to gain some sort of edge, some sort of advantage. He's forced mining to stop at the 4th base multiple times, picked off a lot of key units, but he's still on layer tech. He just started his infestation pit, so he doesn't have the right units to actually stop a fully teched Classic army.
So, the Mutas are beginning to lose equity now. They can't do that much more. Their numbers are too small. We see Dark's not making anymore. Classic, he did trade out some supply there, but Dark's next response is going to be Swarm Hosts.
I love it.
This is really smart, because this is possibly one of the only other ways to keep Classic matted in his base.
Yeah. And if you're stuck on layer tech, like in this situation, there is no window to go up and get into something like Broodlords, right? It's just, it's not going to happen. He's going to kill you before you do that. But Swarm Hosts, if Classic doesn't play perfectly, you're going to have a terribly hard time against this. This is one of the hardest things to play against.
Fleet Beacon coming up as well.
Yeah, he's going to have to get into carriers. That's going to be probably how Classic tries to end up winning this game, I would say.
Yeah, I think Dark, with a very intelligent choice, picked the exact right tech here.
Yeah.
We're now seeing the reintroduction of that melee upgrade. As this game's going to go on for a long time. Now, Classic's defense has gotten good enough. He's beginning to branch out with small armies and clean up anything that's waiting around over here. Which is really, had these Swarm Hosts not come out here, that would have been the tightening of the noose around Dark. And so Dark's now going to try to come in here. Now, the Swarm Host might not outright destroy this base, but it's going to chew away at whatever Classic has. Now, we did see some Phoenixes out here. You might want to try to scout around and see if you can spot those Swarm Hosts.
Absolutely. That's a great move to do. He actually finds some Mutas. Dark is not going to be too heartbroken about this. Those Mutas don't matter that much right now.
Yeah, to be honest, he probably wants a supply freed up. So,
it's not a big deal.
Dark is coming, actually he's being pushed away here. Now, Classic's identified that, okay, Swarm Hosts are a reality. He's got a lot of Templars. He's got a lot of Archons. He's going to push now and say, you need to use those Swarm Hosts to try to defend. Here they go. Immortals with some great shots off over here.
Oh, man, but look at these Locusts. They're going to come down and erase a lot of them. Great Side Storms, though, from Classic, but he's losing a lot of his important units as well.
The thing is I think Classic, if he does this right, will actually push through. The Swarm Hosts, they take a while to regen the Locusts. And I think he could do it. He needs to keep pushing. I don't know how much energy is on the Templars, but with each wave, and also Dark has to combo the Hydras and Queens with the Locusts here. So one expansion goes down.
All right, the Locusts are going to be back out here. A bunch of Hydras just popped out as well. That's a good move. Ooh, look at that. He retargets, gets a High Templar there, really knowing that is the crux of killing him. But Dark doesn't have a whole lot left now.
But he did force. Classic also forced those, Swarm Hosts to come all the way back. You can see he's barreling across the map because he wants to try to start initiating in the upper right. Now, Classic may have actually been able to sandbag this push out long enough that he can hold this. Let's see, though. He needs to get the rest of his army up here. Cannons and batteries can die, but he can't afford to lose that Nexus.
Well, those carriers are going to lose their interceptors rather quickly. The Locust's holding back the main part of the army, but he has to turn around as soon as those Locusts are gone.
Yeah, he needs to get enough carriers where it's an amount that is a more realistic threat.
Oh, did he lose one? He lost a carrier there.
Did he actually?
I
thought he had 30 at the start, but I didn't see. I guess you have to assume it did go down. He could have skirted ahead with the Hydras and maybe just gunned down one.
Well, kind
Carriers
of
don't respond that fast, you know.
Yeah, I got to say, like, Classic's defense this game has been astoundingly good, but the tactical play of Dark is some of the best I've ever seen. Like, he actually should have been dead so many times. Almost every Zerg in the world would have been dead by now. Classic would have been able to easily walk across the map and completely finish him. But this Swarm Host play, the poking in, the fact that he's moving in and out with his Hydra Roach, with those Swarm Hosts, but sometimes splitting them as well, these are all great moves.
Okay, now he's going to snipe down this Nexus over here. He should have just the right number of, just the right number of locusts to just take that out. And this is going to become a problem because Dark can do that as many times as he wants, as long as he has something to defend back at home.
Well, does he have something to defend back at home, I guess, is the next question, right?
Well, I believe the Swarm Host headed back.
I think he just got pathogen glands, right? So maybe we have some infestors.
I don't know what the story is with this Hydra, but hope he gets away. Okay, so we see a lot of Banelings being made. He wants to have a lot of explosive damage out here on the map. This is kind of smart. Look, he just sends 1 or 2 Hydras out here. And well, look at the minimap, everybody. Classic's turning around.
Yeah.
It's like the bare minimum.
Right?
It's just the bare minimum. Enough that
you wouldn't think 2 Hydras would make an army turn around, but...
Yeah, well, we don't really get to see it that often, but it seems like he's just trying to buy time so that he has enough to take on this death ball that Protoss has moving out.
Man, there's a lot of Banelings mixed in here now as well. That's a scary army, though, between the Hardened Shields and all the Archons. I mean, if Dark does this perfectly, though, if he can fungal everything, maybe, yeah, like if he can fungal everything with the Locust land.
The Locusts got to come out first. The Fungals are going to come down. Okay, now the Storms, oddly, as weird as it sounds, I think it's okay if some of those Hydras take the Storms. Ooh, maybe not. That was actually really good.
Did he not have enough for fungal there? I think maybe.
Well, he's blanketed it with Infested Terrans, which seems a little bit weird, especially when there's that much storm, because you just storm it down and kind of kill it. That's it. Classic did it.
Okay.
Too powerful. Powerful Classic, guys.
Powerful Classic.
Powerful Classic.
That was really good play, and you can see how happy he is with himself here as well.
Yeah.
Dark has actually eliminated him from so many events lately.
You win a game like that, and you're like, oh, I'm so sick.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so good.
He really played well. Like, Dark was playing like a man on fire there. Like, he got so far behind because of Classic's defense, and he was on layer tech for 100,000 years. He only even went Hive. The only thing he got on Hive was +3 range.
He was playing like a man on fire, but eventually he burned to death.
Yeah, well, that's
he
exactly
did not
what
get
happens.
the fire out.
No.
Okay, we're going to go to a break. We come back. Trap versus TY here at the GSL Codex.
I wanna be the full of